Hi, Shaoping. We are in Richmond, Virginia. A few weeks ago, we were in Omaha, Nebraska at the Berkshire Hathaway annual meeting. Now we're at the Markel annual meeting. Markel is often called a baby Berkshire. Its CEO, Tom Gayner, has no qualms about basically copying the Berkshire Hathaway formula, which obviously has worked for Berkshire to their credit. It's on paper an insurance company. Like Buffett, Tom uses the float, the difference between when premiums come in and when claims are paid out, to invest in stocks as opposed to just treasuries or bonds, which is more common in the insurance industry. And he's been a very good investor. He's invested across public and private companies, typically beating the S&P, I think, every year for the past 15 years or something like that. Markel trades at a bit lower PE, 8 point something compared to 12 point something for Berkshire. But it's sort of its own little cult in its own way. Let me ask you, as a first-time attendee of Markel, what did you think of the meeting?
The meeting is kind of interesting and it's amazing.
Kind of interesting. Okay.
Yeah, amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of like Berkshire, but it's like a smaller family. Like I think their culture is like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like what I can feel is the warm and welcome and how they value their employees and the shareholders. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. And someone watching that might just say, what does that mean? Just warm culture. But they take it super seriously.
Yeah.
Even though it's an insurance company on paper, an investing company on paper, which would seem like a very numerical business, I would say 90-something% of the talking we heard today at all the different breakout sessions, at the big meeting we just came here, a couple thousand people in attendance. It's maybe like a tenth of the size of Berkshire Hathaway. Most of the focus was on soft topics like corporate culture, the Markel style, like being a good person, treating your shareholders well, treating your employees well, hiring people as smart or smarter than you. A players hire other A players, they said. B players hire C players. So they really focus on this, I would say, both on the company employee level and on the shareholder level. Markel and Berkshire are probably the only two companies, at least that I know of. Graham Holdings might be a third. That's a lot smaller, about $3 billion market cap there. That hold these really big shareholder meetings, which cost a lot of money, take a lot of time, take a lot of mental energy, but they do that for the sake of cultivating this long-term shareholder base. And that's valuable to them because a long-term, high-quality shareholder is less likely to bail when things get tough. They're going to hold for the long run. They're not going to induce that volatility into your stock. Likewise, I think they have the same notion that a long-term, high-quality employee is probably going to be literally exponentially more valuable to you than someone who's just there on a transactional basis, who you don't treat well, don't treat you well. So they want these really top A players. They want to treat them super well, and they think it's going to help the company over the. Would you want to work for Markel? Let me ask you this: if we weren't doing this together.
Yeah.
Oh,
they
good,
look
good.
nice.
They look nice.
They spent 20
nice,
minutes to giving prizes to their employees.
Yep.
With spending all that money, they spent 20 minutes.
Yeah, 18 different employees, if I remember correctly, got some kind of honor, and it wasn't just like Bob Smith, Jack, whatever. They had videos, they had little pictures of them. They were in attendance. Many people came from all over the world. They really showed not just those 18 employees, but really all the other employees watching. Look, here's how well we treat you guys. We really care. That's the message. And I've come here only for 2 times now, and it's amazing how many of the same people you see here. There's this kind of cult, long-term value investing cult, and they kind of make the rounds, these different meetings, and that sounds funny, but it's really economically beneficial. If you're a company, you want those guys on your cap table, so to speak, in the sense of holding your public equity, because they're going to hold for the long run, I should say. They're in it for the long haul. They're not going to be volatile shareholders who bail at the first sign of trouble. So I think it's working for them. They have not performed as well as Berkshire Hathaway stock, but it's hard to beat Warren Buffett in terms of name recognition. But for a company that was, I think, $30 million company when Tom Gayner, the CEO, came to join it years ago, and now it's $21 billion. It has grown like a weed, and I believe in the next 10, 15, 20 years, you're going to be hearing a lot more people talk about Markel. Maybe not in the same way you hear people talk about Berkshire, but at least a little bit of the way there.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.